I don't have any dogs, but I'll happily use Stuart's. Okay. So how are we preparing? One of the things that the board have been working on for a long time is how we get Scotland prepared for the changing landscape of possibly having a treatment for HD. And we've been probably working on it now for about 2.5 years. Thank you. So I'm going to talk you through what we've been doing. So just a quick word on why we want to do this as well. So one of the things that we've learned through other diseases getting treatments is that we get really excited about there being treatments and then forget about all the people we need to care for. So what we wanted to ensure was that we needed these things to run parallel to one another, and we needed to make sure that, like everything else we've done in SHA, that we keep families and the whole family at the centre of what we're doing. So treatments are going to come in, but they're not going to be suitable for everybody right away. So we need to make sure that we still look after everybody within the family, and that's what we found. We needed to make sure we were well prepared for this coming in. So we have a focus on communication. We need to tell you guys what's happening, but we also need to make sure that we're talking to NHS, we're talking to Scottish Government, we're talking to health and social care providers so that everybody's up to date with what's going on. We need to encourage pharma and biotech to bring their trials to Scotland because it is the best place for them to bring them to. We have an integration like nowhere else in the world. And I will continue to keep telling you, we are the best place in the world to have HD, genuinely. And I very luckily get to travel the world because of my job. And that's what I see every time. It comes back to, we're doing really well in Scotland. As Stuart was telling us about the regulations and all of the paperwork that goes with it will genuinely be the death of us. It is unbelievable, but we are working through that and we are making sure that any data that we can provide from SHA will support clinical trials getting through the regulatory bodies, and that anything that we can do to build a case. And one of the big things that we're going to need to build a case on is how much this drug is going to cost and why it's going to be important for us to spend that money on that drug being available if it works. But foremost, we need to ensure we continue to provide the care needed for every member of the family. So how have we done that? So the team have come up with information on the website, but has everybody heard of Headline? No? Oh, this way. Yeah, so Headline is where we're posting all the information about new research, anything that's new in research or science. SHA's website now has a section that is just news on that, and you can sign up to it. So John's done these bullet points for us. So you can go on to the website and it gives you all the news, and there is an Ask a Question section, which is just up here. Which means if you've got a question about something that you've read or you want more information, you've got direct access to ask that question. And because we're connected, we're not just SHA, we're part of EHA, which is part of EHDN, which is part of CHDI, which is part of blah, 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 blah. Big global community. We have the reach, but we also have really good relationships with the science and research teams around the world, which gives us access to ask the experts on these questions. So ask questions. Signing up is easy. Fill in the registration form. It will send you an email every couple of weeks or every time there's an update of new research. But we also know you like it in writing. And for those of us that don't like computers, we also provide it in the Share magazine. And you can sign up to that as well. You can let any of the advisors know and they can get you added to the mailing list, or you can phone the lovely Colin who's somewhere in the room, and he'll add you onto the list as well. And we have spent an awful lot of time in the last year probably working with the staff, because this is an ever-changing landscape. You know, I can't tell you how quickly the information on research changes. So it's really difficult for our HD specialist teams who are having to catch up on this. So we're spending some time making sure that they are informed so that they can pass the right information on to you guys. And one of the big things that we need to do as well is manage people's expectations, because we hear the headlines. There's a new treatment for Huntington's. There's not. There's a new trial. There's a big difference. And one of the things that's really important to understand is there's a difference between a trial and a treatment. And when you're in a trial, it's not just about enrolling into a trial, it's about staying in that trial. So it's really difficult. It is a long, long time to be poked and prodded and subject to lots of tests with no feedback. You know, because you go in and they'll do an MRI, or they'll do your lumbar puncture, or they'll take pints and pints of blood out of you, and nobody ever comes back and says, your bloods were fine. Or you did that test really well. And then you go home and you sit and go, I'm up top. I was really bad at that one this year. So difficult to be back, because we constantly analyse ourselves. Did I do that right? What did they find? Did they find a brain when they did my MRI? I'm still waiting on that result. So we work with the team to make sure the team are updated on that as well. We're all over social media. Our social media team do a great job in making sure that information's updated, and we have links going out all the time, and we are live streaming. Nobody told me about that. Kind of might need a wee disclaimer later. But yeah, so if you're connected in any way through social media, please sign up so that you're next to us and you can get the information via there. Okay, so here are some of our partners. So HD Buzz, has everybody heard of HD Buzz? Everybody, Ed Wild is very well named. Very well named. No, Mr. Flamboyant. He's very, very well named. So we have HD Buzz is, for me, it is the best place to get information about anything research and science based on HD. Their use of lay language is phenomenal, and I genuinely have learned more about science with that team in 6 months than I did in 4 years of higher education. I understand things an awful lot better, so they're great. We also work with EHDN, CHDI, and HSG, the Huntington Study Group, is mainly based in the US, but they're starting to branch out to do some work as well. And this year, we have a poster accepted at HSG, which is really exciting, because we get to tell more people about the wonderful work that we're doing in Scotland. The European Huntington's Association as well, that's a patient organisation, and Astrid is here, who's the president of EHA, and she's going to tell you more about the stuff that they do. And the pharma companies, we work with the pharma companies, we're in conversations with them. And there's been a huge change over the last 5 years with how pharmaceutical and biotech industry engage with patient organisations, and they're much more likely to collaborate with us, but more than anything within HD, they find a huge need to collaborate. They need us as much as we need them, so it's a very good partnership to be in, but they're also hugely impressed with how we do the stuff that we do in Scotland, and are interested in learning more, not just about how they can recruit patients, but actually how can they spread information and how can they understand HD. There is a huge team now at pharma companies just looking at the impact and the social impact of HD and what families go through. They're hugely interested in that. And with Roche in particular, they're looking at a natural history study for that reason, so it is something that they're investing in. Okay. So attracting clinical trials to Scotland is a huge time investment. It's just, it is, you know the annoying neighbour that you've got? If you don't know them, it's you. But the annoying neighbour who's like, how how are you today? I'm going to talk to you, knowing fine well you've not got time. Oh, and wait till I tell you about this. And did you know about that? That's how you badger people into getting clinical trials. You need to be on the phone to them, on the emails to them all the time. You need to get them to remember you, and you need to give them information that means they're going to go Scotland. Every time they think HD, we want them to go Scotland. And John and the team, that's what they've been doing. And the EHA teams, EHDN teams, we're part of that as well. Pushing and pushing and kind of just constantly feeding them information that means when they think HD and when they think of trial sites, they think of Scotland. So one of the big selling points that we have is the integration part of the association. Because we work with so many people, not just patients and families, and not just NHS, we're working with Scottish Government, we're working with the research teams in NHS, and the structures who make decisions on what they'll put money towards, we're working with them as well. So there's an awful lot of back-end work that goes into making that happen. And the intensive lobbying that John has absolutely been involved in has made it that we now have a clinical trial in Scotland. How exciting is that? We should be jumping up and down, it's so exciting. But the big thing about having trials in Scotland is that we can model how we're going to deliver any treatments that come on based on how we have these trials, because we're going to know how difficult is this going to be. So we're not only looking at the administration of the trial, it's what happens if this treatment works. So we get all of that really exciting data that comes from it as well. Who knew data would be exciting, eh? And who knew we would start talking about data as a thing? Okay, so we're well placed. We have superb clinicians. We are so lucky in Scotland. We have this thing where, like Stuart says, I'm going to do 3 months with Huntington's, and 22 years he's still doing that 3-month rotation. That's what our clinicians are amazing, because they stick with it. They get gripped by HD and they stay with it, and they have a real passion. And every single one of them, if you ask them why they've stayed, it's you guys. They stay because of the families. They get so attached and inspired by the families that they work with. We have a high participation based on the per capita model in Enroll, which is phenomenal. If you're not in Enroll, get on it. It's dead easy. Queen Elizabeth Research Centre has been phenomenal for us in providing that state-of-the-art venue, but also the team behind it that can put that forward. So they have been phenomenal in supporting that and getting that forward. The support system that we have as SHA, the whole family approach to things, and the integration with local groups, the integration with local health and social care services, all of that helps, because a big part of these trials is where's the support systems when they go home, where's the support systems to get them to stay in the trial. The big thing is not recruitment, the big thing is keeping people in a trial. It's so important, because if someone only does 70% of that, we lose the whole thing. So we need to make sure we can keep people in the trials. And NHS have this specific team, the NHS Research Scotland team, that only deal with bringing clinical trials for any drug to Scotland. And John has been working tirelessly with the team at Research Scotland, and who are now invested in HD. They are all over us. They are like, oh, this is dead exciting. So they're really excited about it, but they're also watching the wider space in terms of what else is coming up for HD. So they're on board. We've managed to hook them too. So Dr. Ritchie told you all about WAVE, and we're looking at Roche for 2019. Nothing has been signed. We don't know what's going to happen because Roche haven't announced anything formally yet, but we are keeping our fingers crossed that hopefully in the spring of 2019 we might end up with something else in Scotland. But our relationship with Roche will continue regardless. So, I was trying to think what this one was about. So this was about, Stuart spoke about SMA, the spinal muscular atrophy. So the reason that we've put this up is they're a similar drug to the one that we're testing in WAVE and in Roche. And as Stuart had said, they finished that trial early because the results were so good. But we, as an organisation, have been following SMA's journey to get the drug to market in Scotland, and they had a big fight because it's an expensive drug. And one of the big things that they had to prove was its worth. Why was it worth giving these kids, these babies, this drug? And it had to be, unfortunately, it came down to pounds and pence. And we're working with University College Dublin, who are doing a big health economics study, because what we need to be able to say to the Scottish Government and to the NHS buying team, this is the reason that you want to buy this drug. This is the reason that, regardless of what that price tag is, giving this drug to someone with HD is cheaper than caring for them as they get sicker. And that's the big bit. So this is the work that's going on before we have a treatment, before we have anything that they're going to buy years out. Because if we're talking 2023, why are we doing this now? Because we need to be ready now, and we need to be talking to them now about when this comes up and somebody puts this across your desk, you need to look at this number first. And this is the big number that we need you to consider before you quickly write off this drug is too expensive. And that's where the SME, following their journey to get their drug approved and get it licensed and then on the market in Scotland, has been really invaluable for us to be able to say, absolutely, this is what should be done. The National Care Framework. Has everybody seen the National Care Framework? Do we all know about it? Awesome. So this has been an amazing piece of work. It's the only one of its kind in the world, which is, it blows my mind that we've managed to achieve this and achieve it with such a huge array of partners delivering, and again, the family's voice at the heart of it. The fact that we're localising this helps, but treatments will fit into this. Clinical trials and treatments absolutely fit into this National Care Framework, and that is going to be our model of how we make sure that this keeps going and how we can integrate things going forward. That's our template, that's our blueprint of when we deliver care for HD, here's where this fits in, and here's who needs to be involved. So it is front and centre of how we're going to deliver that. And it's the mechanism with which NHS and the buying teams will look at as to how this goes out and how this makes sense. You guys, oops. You guys are still going to be at the heart of everything that we do. As family members, the board is made up of at least 50% family members, and we will always put family members first in anything that we do. And it's our commitment. It is our commitment to everything we do. We analyse everything. We make decisions based on what is best for HD families. And just because there are some treatments coming up in the clinical trials, we will always put you guys first. So we will always make sure that even though that a small population might be able to have treatments, where is the care being met for those who can't currently get those treatments? And that's what we're going to make sure that we keep focusing on. This is not a one-size-fits-all. This is making sure that everything that we do comes into play for every member of those families, and that we can continue to deliver the HD specialist services for those who still need it. That's all, folks.